Hello. Hi friends, it's Monika Davis. And I have a video for you today. I wanted to share the Celebrate Together scrapbooking kit and give you some tips on putting this together. Let me see. I need to turn that way a tad. Maybe. Trying to get everything in my screen. All right. I think maybe now I have it. My name is Monika, and I am a Stampin' Up demonstrator in Georgia, and I've been holding a monthly scrapbooking class using the scrapbook workshop kits that Stampin' Up has available now. And at the in-person class, I like to give some tips on putting it together, but I do also have people that get the kits and don't come in person, so I started doing, I thought it would be helpful to film a video. Trying to clean up my desk here. To film a video giving you some tips and tricks. So anybody that has this kit and wants to put it together might find it useful. So first, let me just show you what is in this kit. Let's see if I can pull this one out. So you have your instruction sheet, your colored instruction sheet. You've got designer series paper. This is the two-sided papers. You've got several of those. Okay, this one is a single-sided one, which means it's exclusive to this scrapbook kit. The ones that are double-sided are included in the paper pack that's part of the coordinating suite products. You've got this specialty sheet, which I'm going to set that aside because I want to show you something about that in a few minutes. You've got, this one has 2 sheets of die cut pieces. The nice thing about the die cuts is when you turn them over, it tells you what project they belong to. So you can punch those out and put them along with your project pieces. Then you've got several pieces of the two-toned 12 by 12 cardstock. So it's a full strength color on one side, which is often referred to as dark, and then the other side is light. So I'll compare. This is cloud cover. I don't know if you can see the difference. I think you can tell the difference on camera. So cloud cover. Then we've got some white willow 12 by 12. There's a bunch of those. And then you have a sticker sheet. And then you have the photo placeholders, which you can use or not use. And then this is just the backing sheet. So let me put all of these back in here. So that's what's in the kit. And then I'm going to show you the completed pages. I'm not putting the pages together for you. I've already done that. But I'm going to show you the finished pages and give you tips on each page or layout. So you're going to be making 3 2-page layouts, and I'll show you what I had left when I was done. So I had some stickers left. I had some pieces from this sheet left, and I'm going to show you and give you some tips on cutting that. There's some more. You've got some various papers left. I had a full sheet of this one with the flowers. I only cut one of them. And let's see. I did also manage to keep a full sheet of white willow. Those are just the negatives of the die cuts. All right, so quite a bit left over, which you could use to make another page or layout, or you could use it for cards. All right, so we're gonna start with, so this is how I usually sort my pieces out, and you of course might have a different system. What I do is I find my base pieces for all three layouts and put those into 3 piles. I pull out the photo placeholders that I'm going to need and put those onto the 3 piles. Then I pull my die cut pieces out, add those to the 3 piles, and then I start following my cutting guide. So you can follow right along with the cutting guide. You can, if it's helpful, check off each piece as you've finished cutting it, label it on the back with a pencil, or if it has an asterisk, you want to label it on the front. You always want to follow right here where it says front and back, because front is the side you'll be using. Unless there's an asterisk, then you're using the back side. So here there's a few pieces that this will be the side, so label it on the other side. And then your next piece you're going to cut. So you're just going to follow along. So this one, this exclusive piece, let me pull that out. This is the side. So for this one, you're going to want to cut on the diagonal. And my paper trimmers that I have here are not big enough for me to put this in and cut it. And there is a note here that says you'll need paper snip, scissors, and a ruler to make this cut. So what I did was I turned it over, and I actually used, I have a cutting mat that's long. It's like, I don't know, 18 or 20 inches long. And I used that to help me draw a pencil line on the back of the triangle, or of the 12 by 12 sheet, so I could cut the triangle. And I did cut with paper snips. So it's probably not a perfect cut, but this, you're only using 1/2. This half is left over, and the half that you're using is pretty much, a lot of it's going to get covered up. So that's the tip on this. So it's important to read that little note. And then there's another piece. And what I would say is do this one first. Hopefully you don't get it messed up. If you really got it messed up, you have a second sheet, and you could probably get this piece out of your messed up section, you know, but you're just cutting it at a diagonal. All right, now this one right here, that is this piece. So if we take a look at this piece, so what it is I always call these panel sheets. I don't know what the real name is, but it has all these little panels already printed on here, and you're going to want to cut these apart. And you're going to be using some of these on your pages, and then you're going to have some left over. So you can see they've marked them on here. So like this piece is 3K. This one has nothing on it, so that one's going to be left over. This one is marked as 1E. and then that one is left over. This piece is marked as 1P. This long one is 3C. You have a 2J. That's an extra. This is an extra. You have an extra, a 3G. And then down here at the bottom is 1O. So what I would suggest doing, cutting first. So I would cut this, put this in your trimmer, and then cut this line first. And that is about 3 1/4 inches is what this one is. And make this cut and cut this strip off the top. Then you can go ahead and cut these apart. Okay, that will leave you with just this part. And the next thing I would do is cut this one off the bottom because it's 12 inches long. So cut that piece off, and that's going to leave you with this piece. This is one long piece, so you need to cut that long piece off before you start cutting these panels apart. So hopefully that makes sense. So cut here and cut here, then cut here. Unless you want to measure and, you know, do it with inside your trimmer, but I find it easy just to cut the long cuts first. And then you can cut all of these pieces. What I usually end up, I have a hard time cutting exactly on these lines, so I get as close as I can, and then I come back and clean up my edge if I need to. So that's what you'd want to do with this piece. So this one is about 3 1/4. This is about a 3/4 inch strip. This one is roughly 1 1/4 wide is what I put on here. And then these are about 4 1/4, these two. And then each of these is about 1 3/4 inches. There's kind of a line right here. You don't really want that little light colored line. That's just showing you where the separation of the two pieces is. Okay, so these are kind of fun. Then you've got pieces left that you can use for cards or journaling on another page. All right. That's that. And as I'm cutting and labeling the backs, all the pieces that belong in one of my 3 stacks, they're numbered. They either have a 3, a 2, or a 1. Those are going to go in my 3 stacks as I cut. And then all these leftover pieces, so this one should have been white because this is a leftover piece. All the white pieces, what I do is I slide them back into the Ziploc bag so I know that those are extras. Okay. And then you've got these to cut. Just pay attention to the dark and light as far as which side to label on, because you're going to be using the dark here and you're going to be using the dark on these guys. And then you've got a whole bunch of white pieces. Most of these are your frames for your photos, like your photo mats is what the majority of those are. And then, yeah, I think I had a whole piece left over of the white willow. So that is all the cutting. And once you've got everything cut and stacked, then I usually pull out the first layout and start with that. So this is our first layout. Well, before you actually start on the first layout, what you want to do, this says prepare for both pages. So this will be for both of these pages, and then you've got the assembly of the left page and then the assembly of the right page. So this applies to the left and the right page. So it says adhere photos to 1F, G, Q, R, S, and T. So that's just talking about either you have your photos ready to go, or you're using your photo placeholders, or you don't have to use your photo placeholders. So if you're not using placeholders and you don't have photos, you don't need to do that. Then it says cut the short ends of 1B and 1C at an angle. So that's these two. You really can't even see that I did it on this top one, but that is cutting this at an angle right here. Cut the left end of 1M. That's this one on this side, on the second page. All right, and then each of our pages has, like, our scrapbook workshopping kits includes a optional technique that you can do on your pages. And this one, the optional technique is embossing. And so if you want to do that, you're going to need a few things. You're going to need a heat tool. You are going to need VersaMark ink pad. You are going to need the embossing powder, and in this case, we're using gold embossing powder, and our gold comes in the metallic Wow embossing powder set. So the other colors in here are silver and copper, and then you have gold. And then you'll want something to be able to work over with your powder, and we do have this embossing buddy tray thing. It has a name. I think it's called the Embossing Essentials Kit. So it comes with the tray, the brush, it has these tweezers, and then it has the little powder embossing buddy pack, which I don't have over here. So this, I think, is the Essentials pack. It's not required. A lot of people just use a dish or a piece of paper or something like that. So if you want to do the optional embossing, that's what you'll need for that, and your heat tool. And so I will show you where the embossed pieces are. So on this one, you're embossing these little strips right here. So all I did was I took the little strips and I dipped them into the end of the embossing, dipped the end into the VersaMark ink, and then for these, I literally dipped them into the jar of embossing powder because they were skinny enough to fit in my jar. All right, my doorbell just rang, and I'm not sure why. Hold on. Well, maybe they'll go away. I'm not sure who's ringing the doorbell in the middle of the day. Okay, let me just try to see if the dogs are going to stop barking. Sorry about that. And then on this page, you're dipping this patterned paper piece. So they seem to still be barking. Maybe they'll stop. All right. So my other tips. So that's kind of your preparation. All right. I think I'm going to have to stop the video. And start again. All right, I'm going to come back. Let me see what's happening. Okay, so sorry. I don't know, nobody was there. I don't know who that was. Okay, I don't know if I can edit that out either, so hopefully you just looked at the beautiful page. This summer page. So my tips for you, I'm putting this together, is make sure that you realize this piece right here and this one right here, they're not square. So you want the 10 inches to go long ways and the 9.5 to go up and down. Okay, now if you did do it the other way, you know, you just have less space up here. Just make sure you do the right page to match your left page so that they line up like this if you were to do it the other way. Also, I don't know that you can tell, but there are some score lines here in this umbrella that you can bend. They're kind of like right here, little score lines, and you can kind of bend those a little and then put your dimensionals under there to just give that umbrella a little bit of shape if you wanted to do that. So I put the umbrella part on dimensionals, and I did leave this flat down here. All right, otherwise your assembly, you're just following the instructions down, and then again, this piece is not a square. You want to line it up with that one. Also on this strip right here, which is the one that came from the bottom of this sheet, you're just going to cut away that solid yellow part to make a flag at the end. You're going to do that. And then I found that I needed to cut this blue piece right here, which is 1N. I cut about 1/2 inch off of it to make it be shorter, because I was trying to get it to look like the photo where this is the longest one and this is the shortest one, and mine was actually the same length. So I cut this 1/2 inch shorter just to make it line up correctly, or you could just glue it down and then trim off the outside edge. All right, now I did put all my photos up on dimensionals on this layout, but I did not do that on every layout. All right, that is number 1, left and right page. All right, let me lay these over here. And now we have our second layout. All right, so for this one, your assembly pieces, or your preparation steps, is again adhering your photo placeholders if you want to use those. It says to cut the 1 scallop sticker in half to use on the right page. I waited to do that once I got to my right hand page. And then for this one, your embossing options, if you want to do the gold embossing, that was this little banner flag. The 2 ends of that banner flag got embossed with the gold. I think that was the only piece. All right, so now the assembly of the left page. You're using this piece, adhere to A. Okay, so what it said is to adhere this flower piece down, but don't put adhesive at the top so you can tuck that sticker under there. I didn't do it that way. I put the sticker down first, and I measured the bottom edge of the sticker at 5 let's see, 5 3/8 of an inch, which is where I put the bottom of this little scallop sticker. I don't know if you can see. So it's at 5 3/8 inch measured up from the bottom, and I put that sticker down first, and then I glued my flower paper at the, what it said, 5 1/8 inch, so it shows the scallop. Okay, that would be my suggestion. And then it says to adhere this piece right here, and then put this on top of it. I wanted this on dimensional, so what I did was I actually glued this piece, which is called 2G, to the back of the label, the Good Times banner, and then I could put the whole thing on dimensionals. So that was the way I did it. You could do it differently. So my measurement might not be exactly what that measurement is. All right, so now on to this second page. So this is where this big triangular piece is coming into play. And so what you're going to want to do is, I turned my piece over and I laid it into position, and I took a pencil and I drew a diagonal line onto my base piece. Then I moved that out of the way. This is where you want to take that sticker. So it's one of these, the one scallop sticker we used on the left page. So then you're going to take it, you can measure 6 inches and mark the center, and then cut it into 2 pieces. And then you're going to put one piece along the one line and the other piece along the other line. It's going to leave you an opening in the middle, but that's okay because you can see all that's getting covered up. So you're putting it here and here, and then you're going to glue that triangle on top of it. So that's what is happening there. And then once you've put that down, you'll have to trim off the stickers on these 2 corners because they're going to hang over a little bit. So I just turn it over and then trim those off. Doesn't really say that in the instructions, but you'll want to do that. All right, now you'll just go through and add all the rest of these pieces. Now for this circular sticker right here, it overlaps this photo. And so what I did was I cut a piece of this backing sheet and I stuck it under here. So I can add my photo. You know, these are not glued down, so my photo can go under here. And then once my photo is done on there, then I can pull that little backing piece out of that sticker. So that's just gonna sit right there temporarily once I've added the photo to this spot. So if I'm adding my photo, I'm pulling these off. And I put just one little piece of adhesive on these in the very center. And then when I'm going to add photos, so for example, I have just a little bit of adhesive on here, so that the way you remove these is you just kind of twist them and pull it up. Then you're going to put your photo in that space, but this is going to tell you what size photo to use. The other option, if you don't want to use these, you could just put this down and then write yourself a note on here that says 4x4 in pencil, and then you'll know you want a 4x4 photo to go there. And a third option is you could use this paper as an additional layer and maybe do like a 3 3/4 or 3 7/8 inch photo in this spot and have a double layer. You know, with white, I don't know that you need a double matted in white, but maybe that's something that you like. All right, so that's the tips for this guy. All right, that was layout number 2. And then now we have layout number 3. Hoping you can see them all. All right, so for this one, you do want to make sure you're using the light side of the cloud cover because you're layering on another piece of cloud cover showing the dark. So if you've got them face the same direction, you won't have the contrast between the two colors. So your base pages should be light and these layers should be dark. All right, your preparation is doing your photo placeholders and then adding the gold embossing. So on this one, the gold embossing here is on the tops, on the rim of these little glasses. These are die cuts. So you're gonna add the gold embossing to the rim, and then on the bottom of this layer right here has the gold embossing. Remember, the gold embossing is optional if you don't want to do that. All right, some tips on this page. Let's see. Make sure that 3C is facing up. Okay, that's this piece right here. Make sure that your flowers are facing in the correct direction because I initially started to put mine on and realized I had it upside down, so my flowers were facing downward. So this piece is directional. After you add A, B, and C, those are these 3 pieces, you need to grab, and this is missing from the instructions, you need to grab this sticker strip right here, which is this dark secret C piece that isn't specifically stated in there, but I would put that on before you add your photo mats because your photo mats overlap. So I would do that after I've added 1, 2, 3, and I lined it up with the edge of this layer, which should be B, or maybe, yeah, it's B. Okay. And then I think that was all. I didn't put adhesive underneath the top of this until after I stuck the leaves and the half circle down, and then I added some adhesive under there, and then you're gonna glue your die cut pieces down. All right, and then on the right hand page, the only kind of tip I have for you on this one, again, make sure you've got the light colored background, the dark base. This is kind of centered. Again, you've got it the shorter side going this way and the longer side going this way. So just check that you're going, this is close to a square, but it's not exactly. And then I added an extra lemon. There's not a lemon in the photograph, but the reason I did that was because I had 2 lemons over here, and that just felt like I needed a lemon on this side to connect them, to carry it across. So that was what I did differently. All right, so that is that layout. So those are my tips for the Celebrate, I guess it's called Celebrate Together. I might have called it Celebrate Today. Celebrate Together is what it is called. Let me slide that back And you've got a lot, you've got even another different title if you want. And you've got some extra lemons. On one of the layouts, the layout where you use these lemons, there's two smaller ones and there's a bigger one. I debated on one of the pages if I should be using the bigger or the smaller lemon. Let's see, which one is it? That's this one. So I ended up using the two smaller lemons, but you could have used a larger one. Alright, so these would be fun summer pages like lemonade stand or beach or pool. Kool-Aid or fruit punch or sangria or something like that. A celebration of some type. Or if you don't want to say celebrate, then you say today was simply amazing and switch out that title. Okie doke. All right, I hope that was helpful. See you next time.